Royals. Welcome back. You are still with Building Africa with Love on Channel Africa with the host that never disappoints, Nkeke Funani, broadcasting from an African perspective. I never disappoint. And as promised, I have the author of Winning the Money Game, Mr Bumble, who is also Commissioner of Financial Literacy and Nano-Economics at the Reset Global UN Advisory Board. He has been awarded as one of the Junior Chamber International 10 Outstanding Young Persons of South Africa in 2020 and Inside Education Top 100 South African Shining Stars. He is now on the line and we are talking financial literacy with him. Good morning, Royal, and welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, and I'm happy to be here today.
Great book you wrote in Winning the Money Game. You just reminded us that financial literacy is arts, that it is culture. It is also all around us. And the one thing that I liked about it was that you created this holistic feel of, when I first held the book, I thought, oh my gosh, so call me economics and all of that. But then when I read it, I was like, wow, the art that is employed in writing this, it was not a headache. It was just simple for me to understand, and you integrated it into the story. I love your conversation, especially between Umkhulu and his grandson. How did this journey start? Can you walk us through this?
So, thank you for the compliment. I think it's a mix between having a degree in economics and finance.
Okay.
But maybe my true passion, especially when I was younger, was drama.
Aha.
So I think that's how the two worlds met.
Okay.
Yeah, in terms of how the story came up. But how my journey began was after my degree, I started working at Standard Bank as a business analyst in the debt review department. So debt review and credit rehab is where you go when you start having financial problems.
Yes.
And in terms of dogma and what you just think at the top of your head, you think that money is a problem for people that are quote unquote poor who don't earn much. And when I looked at the data, you were seeing engineers, doctors, businesses that you would consider successful. And these people are in debt review, but their income is proper and you'd see them as a middle class person.
Yes.
But why are they here? And then I started asking myself that question. And I realized at the time, because as a graduate, you're told that you've arrived, you've done the things, and then you also feel that way. So you get the fancy apartment, I got the GTI, and I realized that, hey, if something was to go just a bit wrong,
yes,
I'd also be in debt review.
That's something we don't always think about. You're just thinking of the now and the gratification you're getting from the salary that you get at that present moment, without foreseeing or planning ahead. What is the biggest mistake we make when it comes to financial literacy?
So for me, the biggest mistake is shifting responsibility for it. Very few people have a relationship with money where they handle it.
Yes.
So I'm not saying manage your own funds, like be a fund manager, but you need to know where your money is going, why it's going there, and where your money will take you in 5, 10, 15 years, etc. Whereas most people are just like, hey, yabona nje, as long as I can survive this month, it's fine. Things are okay. And people live month to month.
Yes.
And if you're looking at in terms of an income statement, month to month you look okay. But even that okay is usually in debt for most middle class people.
For sure.
But I mean, it's not like people are looking at your bank statement so you can hide that. Although at night it's with you. But then if anything changes, and especially with the lockdown and COVID, I think people have seen that job security is not as secure as it used to be. So the days of being able to just live like that, I think they're fast ending. And while you have an income, you should be making sure that you are building a great relationship with your money and structuring in such a way that it's building you assets that can support you if anything was to go sideways.
Can you tell us more about Umkhulu? How did he make his money, and what advice did he give you when you told him that you just graduated?
Okay, maybe Umkhulu is fictional.
Oh,
this
all
is
right.
a fictional book. So for those that are academic inclined,
Yes.
it would be called a creative nonfiction.
Aha, okay.
So
All right.
there are obviously aspects and things in my life that are in the book, and I think every author kind of shares themselves with the book when they're being authentic.
Yes.
But ultimately, it is fictional.
Oh.
But in the beginning of the book, the foreword is by Claudio Dishego.
Okay.
He is my mentor, and I do have other two mentors. And I would say the Mkhulu character is a combination of my three mentors and also what I've learned in the journey of teaching and coaching and training on financial education.
You see when I started, I was like, this is so real. It's so authentic in terms of the storyline, and it brings it back home, you know. I guess that's what makes a person connect so beautifully with the book. Can you tell us why are we broke, Mr. Bumble? Help us understand the money game, because we don't.
So when you started with something very powerful, which is culture. Culture also addresses behavior.
Yes.
So in my talks, when we used to speak to audiences, before lockdown,
Yes.
but now we do it online, so it's fine. I would also say that money is the new cattle. Like if you think of Africans and the relationship with had cattle, growing up, I would visit my grandmother in Mtwalume.
Yes.
And I'd have to be up at like 4, 5 a.m. to go with the boys. I was also a young boy to go to a DP where the cow would need to do its thing, etc., etc. So you just grew up understanding cow, even if you weren't really a cattle herder, but you knew a lot about cattle because that was our wealth.
Sure.
You know, so if everyone knew that, everyone kind of knew how to manage cattle, therefore we were not really broke. And now money is our cattle. But if you see our displays as wealth, now they are based on liability. Like liabilities like luxury cars, apartments we cannot afford yet, etc., etc. So now if you're going to base your money and things on liabilities, then you're always working backwards. And if you think about it, cattle was an asset.
Yes.
So if we can base, like for example, if I could go to the club or the restaurant and go, yeah, boom, I've got 5 rental properties. That's my flex. You know, then we would be going on the right direction. But if I'm flexing with something from bad debt and it's just a big car or a big apartment that I'm renting, then I'm flexing with stuff that's actually sending me to being broke.
For sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So walk me through, let's say I'm just this person who's getting into, I'm getting a new job now and I'm starting my life, you know, I have no clue of what to do with my money or where to start. The first thing I'm thinking is, okay, I want to go and get myself a home. I want to get myself a car. I need advice for that person so that they do not start off making the mistakes that many of us have made in the past that have landed us up in trouble. How can you help someone like that with some advice, Njinyana?
Brilliant question. I do quite a lot of training with third years, final year students, because one of the slogans I push is learn this before your first paycheck.
Yes.
You know, so that your habits are good. So for me, one of the first mistakes is most people don't actually ask what their net pay will be. You know, they're told that maybe you'll start at 10,
Yes.
and then they assume it's 10.
Yes.
That will be in their bank account.
Yes.
No, it doesn't work like that. Typically, you would end up with 30 to 40, with 60 to 70% of what they said is gross that will come in your bank account. So you start there, and then you budget from that, and that will dictate whether you stay alone. So young people have this thing of, finally I get to stay alone.
Oh,
it's not that great, guys. Especially if both of you are working. Mm-hmm. If you share an apartment, you'd hardly see each other anyway. So I always advise them, when you move out, just share in the beginning. And you can also share with someone who probably already has furniture. And then you saving up to buy your furniture and stuff like that. And then the next big thing is, okay, I got to get a car. And I've got nothing against cars.
Sure.
And sometimes you can get the exact same thing, but what matters most is how you bought it. So a lot of students, unfortunately, and I've done this training with accounting students, and I asked them what's a credit score, and they didn't know. But I don't blame them, because when I did economics and finance, I also didn't know what a credit score was. So if you're going to be hunting for a car, looking to buy one, without knowing your credit score, you're probably going to get a bad deal. That's one. And also, if you are young and you're starting out, I think a car is literally a mode of transport, or should be, from A to B.
Yes.
And you can buy it used, repossessed. Repossessed cars are a bargain. So that's how I advise them to start out in life. But most of this is also relevant to people that have been working for some time.
Of course. Yeah. I also like how you simplified what most writers makes look so difficult. The doctor scenario in the book, for example, lights up the bulb instantly, where you say an educated doctor may know everything about medicine, but since you are not paid with medicine, you still have to play the money game. That was just classic for me. Thank you. We're going to go to a quick break, but before we do so, is there anything you can share with our listeners for those that would like to connect with you, probably join a seminar that you're part of, or, you in this industry already? How do people tap into your knowledge?
Okay, so Winning the Money Game has a Facebook page and a YouTube channel. And I think those are the best ways to communicate. And in terms of events and everything we do, it's posted there.
Okay.
And we also do coaching. Mm-hmm. And for that one, you send an email to bookings@moneyfundi.org, where we go through a 90-day journey where we discuss all matters around finances, starting from your relationship, your budgeting, potentials, side incomes and assets that you can build given what you know, and stuff like that.
Okay, there you have it. So on Instagram and Facebook, it is Winning the Money Game. That's what they look for. On
Facebook, and YouTube, it's Winning the Money Game.
Okay.
On Instagram, it's Mlamuli Mbambo.
Okay. There we have it. Okay. Listeners, we're just taking a quick break, and don't move an inch. We still have our guest with us.
Building Africa with love. Bujambo Africa. If there are holes in this continental ship, we are its children. Let us go and stop the holes. Let us gladly do it with our hearts, and if we cannot, then let us die. We will make a plug of our brains and put them into the ship, but condemn it never. Nguvu wakwatu, upendu ni nguvu. Catch us on Channel Africa from 10 to 11 a.m. every Friday, and Sundays from 5 a.m. to 6 a.m.
Welcome back. It is now time for our famous quiz, where we test our guest knowledge of the African continent. Buti, I will ask you 5 questions, which you need to answer within 30 seconds. Are you ready? Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. The first question, who was Zambia's first president?
Oh, Kenneth Kahunda.
Yes.
Yeah, Kahunda.
The second question, which country unilaterally declared independence in November 1965?
Would that be Ghana, the first one?
Okay. The third question, what is the capital of Kenya?
Nairobi, yeah.
All right. And then the fourth question, who was the following speech by? Political independence has no meaning if it is not accompanied by rapid economic and social development.
Oh, Patrice Lumumba, Congolese.
And then the last question, what is the largest international organization of African countries with 55 member states?
African Union.
Lovely. Okay, that's the end of our quiz, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to read through the questions and the answers just for the benefit of our listeners. The first question was, who was Zambia's first president? It is Kenneth Kaunda. The second question, which country unilaterally declared independence in November 1965? It was Southern Rhodesia, which is now Zimbabwe.
Oh.
Yes. And then the third question, what is the capital of Kenya? It is Nairobi. And number 4, who was the following speech by? Political independence has no meaning if it is not accompanied by rapid economic and social development. It is Patrice Lumumba. This was in his speech at the All Africa Conference in Leopoldville, August 1960. The last question, what is the largest international organization of African countries with 55 member states called? It is the African Union. Wow, okay. Well done. That's the quiz, ladies and gentlemen. You got the first, the second. Okay, you got 4 out of 5. Not too shabby, Nige.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time. Thank you, Mr. Bumble, for your time, efforts, and all your contributions. Most of us just graduate, others just go to tertiary, and others are starting school. In the end, we are all responsible for what we are and whatever we wish ourselves to be. We have the power to make ourselves. If what we are now has been the result of our own past action, that has just been corrected by our guest, Mr. Bumble, and it certainly follows that whatever we wish to be in future can be produced by our present actions. So we have to know how to act, and money, yes, money will cease being a challenge.